All right, let's call this meeting to order. I'd like to note that all of council is here with the exception of Mayor Deck and Deputy Mayor Sandall, who are both off on medical reasons. Do we have any additions to the agenda?
Can we switch or move 8.1 to above 7 or put it to 7.1?
Anything else? All right, all in favor of the amendment to the agenda? Yeah. All opposed? All right. All right, 6.1, regular.
Sorry, Councillor Eustachian, there was actually no motion to accept the agenda as amended. You made that
Oh,
motion.
I
and
can't
you
make
can't.
that. My apologies. Can I have a motion to accept the agenda? Now we'll vote. All in favor? All right, adoption of the minutes of regular meeting of council November 13th. Can I get a motion to accept those minutes or any adjustments? Councillor Barry?
I'll make the motion that we accept the minutes of the meeting of council November 13th as presented.
Do we have any adjustments to those minutes? Okay, I do have one that I contacted Ms. Pino about yesterday. Just the adjournment was the wrong name under there again. All in favor of accepting the minutes?
As amended.
As amended? Thank you. All right, Staff Sergeant McGonigal. Welcome.
Just give me a second to get the slideshow up too, please. Thank you.
Chris, does the agenda show when the public watches, does the agenda show as well?
No, it doesn't, just the live stream.
Is there a,
There is not a way for me to put the
We'll call a 2-minute recess while we're getting the slideshow set up. All right, we'll call the meeting back to order. Staff Sergeant McGonigal, welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me this evening. I'd like to present the Morinville RCMP second quarter report to council this evening. If we can move forward to the first slide. Purposes, again, to provide an update to council on the operations of the Morinville RCMP detachment. The Morinville RCMP detachment provides 24-hour policing services to several municipalities and communities in the detachment area, including the Alexander First Nation, Sturgeon County, Town of Bonaccord, Town of Gibbons, Town of Legal, and Town of Morinville. The current annual policing priorities for Morinville detachment that were put in place on April the 1st of 2024 or crime reduction, enhanced awareness and education, employee wellness and respect, and enhanced road safety. The Morinville Detachment is comprised of 40 personnel, including 1 staff sergeant, yours truly, 1 sergeant, 5 corporals, 18 constables, plus 1 constable who acts as our school resource officer, 4 public service employees, 4 Town of Morinville full-time employees, 5 Town of Morinville casual employees, 1 reservist constable, also Regional Victim Services employees, and 5 guards. Now, just if we can hold on this one for a moment, please. Just a quick update on our human resources at the detachment. We do have a new sergeant in place as our new operations NCO at Morinville Detachment. Sergeant Mike Ferbraro was officially promoted into that role 2 weeks ago. He replaces Sergeant Lou Sims, who departed in August. Sergeant Ferbraro has already been at Morinville Detachment for a number of years as a watch commander. His promotion into this position does create a vacancy in his previous watch commander position. I hope to have an update on who will be taking that spot at the next quarterly update. Of our 5 corporal positions, we actually had 4 vacancies to start the year. We filled 3 of them this last quarter. Corporal John Corp from Fort Saskatchewan and Corporal Ryan LeMay from Central Alberta District General Investigations Section were both promoted into those positions, and they started at Morinville Detachment in September. They are just doing awesome. They're great additions to our team and very, very good police officers. We also welcomed a 3rd new corporal to our detachment just last week. Corporal Samantha Barrett was promoted into watch commander position. She comes from St. Albert Detachment. She has several years of experience and was also a constable at Morinville Detachment a number of years ago. So we're very happy to have Corporal Barrett on board as well. In the constable ranks, we have 2 departing constables. Constable Marianne Marin transferred to Maskwacis Detachment 2 weeks ago, and Constable Darren Ryan transferred to Evansburg Detachment just last week. We do have 1 constable incoming to our detachment. That's Constable Andy Fontana, coming from up north at Château Detachment. He'll be starting with us very shortly here, and I expect to have 1 more constable named very soon incoming to our detachment. Thank you. Our Morinville Detachment crime statistics, and again, as I presented in the first quarter update, what we're doing here is a little bit different than years past. This is in supplement to the traditional provincial statistics that we provide to council, which encompasses the entire detachment area. This is a collection of data that's specific to the town of Gibbons. So what we have here is 4 columns. Column 1 indicates the statistics for quarter 2. That's the period of July 1st to September 30th. There's a quarter 2 comparison in the next column for this same period the previous year. Following that, we have our year to date, which operates on our fiscal, so April 1st to September 30th, and again a comparison on our year to date from the year prior. So this quarter we had 3 calls that involved some element of spousal abuse. That's not necessarily a criminal offense or a violent offense, but any call for service that we receive where there's a cohabitual relationship involved as an element. We had 3 such calls this quarter compared to 10 the previous one, so this brings us way down. We're now at 13 year to date compared to 20 at this point last year for the same types of calls. Mental Health Act calls in Gibbons, we saw 3 this quarter, bringing us to 8 so far this year compared to 11 last year. We didn't have any RPAC referrals here in town. We did have 4 residential break and enters this quarter, which brings us to 4 for the year to date. We didn't have any commercial break and enters. We did have 2 the previous quarter. 2 vehicle thefts, down from 4 the previous quarter. That brings us 6 years to date, compared to 15 at this point last year. So we've seen a good reduction there. We've had 5 reported frauds to us, bringing our year to date up to 9, pretty steady from last year. And we've also had 20 reports of suspicious persons, vehicles, or activity during this quarter, bringing us 35 year to date. Nice increase there, because I do like to promote people calling us for anything suspicious or unusual that they see. So we're seeing an uptick on that, 35 compared to 25 last year. I was also asked if I could provide some specific information regards to vandalism. So we do have some vandalism complaints that have come in this quarter, pretty consistent compared to years past and quarters past. We saw 11 reported cases of vandalism from July 1st to September 30th. That brings our year to date to 15 compared to 12 at this time last year. I'll also add, because This does cover the period of July 1st to September 30th. We're now almost in December. Just for council's awareness, and I'll report on this in more detail at the next update. We have had 6 more updates or complaints of vandalism since September 30th, which is still pretty consistent with the year to date that we were seeing up until then. The 6 instances that were reported to us since September included report of damage to a home under construction, which was minor, complaint of teens that were attempting to damage lights that ran off before we arrived. We've had 3 complaints of screws being thrown on the road, which we've taken some steps to see if we can put a stop to and identify who's responsible for this, if indeed it is intentional. And also a report of an attempted break into a vehicle, which fled before we arrived and was unsuccessful. Can move on to the next, please. Total calls for service from the Morinville Detachment in the town of Gibbons. This quarter we saw a number of 184 calls for service, which is remarkably consistent. This same period last year we had 172 calls for service over that same period. Previous quarter 133. As expected, we see that bit of an uptick getting into the summer months from the spring. Our year to date for the first 6 months of the fiscal year, 317 calls for service in Gibbons compared to 321 last year, almost exactly the same. Also like to provide council on an update on our remotely piloted aircraft system, also known as RPAS or drone, that was acquired by Morinville Detachment in September. We were one of the lucky locations that was identified in August to acquire an RCMP drone for our region, which is just fantastic. The benefits of this are, and I'll get into the points I've mentioned on the PowerPoint here. The benefits are really threefold. It's a cost-effective measure for us to surveil on investigations compared to using human resources. It is readily accessible. That's the big one for me. We don't have to go to Edmonton now if we need something in the air, if we need a helicopter, if we need something quick. We don't have to go through any red tape or making phone calls. It's there, it's ours. We can put it in the air immediately. And it's safe. I don't have to worry about putting people in harm's way unnecessarily when we have this tool at our disposal. So just some information points I'll cover on the next few slides here. RPAS are commonly known as drones or UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles. They provide cost-effective aerial photos, HD video, 3D imagery, FLIR videos and photos, infrared night vision, vegetation disturbance patterns, burial sites, and real-time situational awareness. When can RPAS be used? Examples of allowable use include traffic-related investigations, emergency or disaster response, search and rescue operations, major crime scenes, investigations in areas where no expectation of privacy exists, and instances where a warrant has been obtained. The Morinville Detachment currently has 2 members trained as pilots. It's already been used on 10 occasions since we acquired it 2 months ago, and it's been used in cases of missing persons, vehicle thefts, and suspect pursuits. I'll add too that we've also used it for our neighboring detachments as well. So the benefit extends beyond us. We've helped our friends in Fort Saskatchewan, and it's really nice to have it right here in our area. We're very fortunate. Community engagement. Our SRO program is continuing at Morinville Community High School and Sturgeon Comp High Schools. We also have our school liaisons assigned in addition to their patrol duties at all the different schools throughout our area. We also had an Alberta Citizens on Patrol Association presentation here in Gibbons that was recently held and attended by our new operations NCO, Sergeant Febraro. I've also committed my contribution to future meetings on the topic of Citizens on Patrol here in Gibbons. I actually believe I'm going to be attending a meeting shortly on that. And that is my presentation for quarter 2.
All right, do we have any questions? Councilor Monte.
So the part with the drone, do you ever come over to Gibbons to maybe do some training so that they're familiar with the jurisdiction, like the river valley that we have? Because it's really hard to navigate through. in case people run down there?
We certainly can. We're fortunate, as I mentioned, that the pilots for the drones, for the UAVs, are specifically trained to use them. Me, for instance, I'm not permitted to use it. The two pilots that we have who are trained to use it are local to the Morinville detachment, and actually two of our most experienced guys in terms of how long they've been in the area here, and they know the area inside and out. But absolutely, when it comes to training and staying current on the use of it, yeah, that's an added benefit. We can pick different areas and maintain that familiarity with the
Yeah,
geography of
great.
the area.
Be great to see your team training in
Yep.
Gibbons, and I think that might be some neat things for the kids to see as well, to show, wow, the RRCMP is quite techy, right?
I like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perhaps a public presentation at some point.
Absolutely. The other one was, we have some like events that we've been having, but I haven't seen your group attending them. So I don't know if I just missed them while we were wrapping presents at our Santa's workshop that we have, but
Do you know if the events were they communicated to our office, Jay? Sorry to put you on the spot. I'm just not familiar with which ones.
I would defer back to our deputy CAO.
Because I do try to be pretty prompt with responding to them when nothing like this is ringing a bell.
Okay, I just want to maybe see some presence as well.
Of course.
Not necessarily to police the kids, but to show that you're in the area.
Absolutely.
Enjoying the fun.
Yep.
Because we wrapped a lot of presents, and even just having the RCMP come by to come say hi
Absolutely.
would be great.
Councillor Malonte, I can't say yes or no that we invited the detachment to them. That would be community services, so they would have to, I'm not passing the buck, but it's something we will look at in the future to invite you out and also our bylaw partners out, so we can look at that in the future.
Absolutely, and we don't need to drill down on that, but I will make this pledge that, not even an invitation, but if I'm even made aware of an opportunity like that, we'll take advantage of it.
And we'll tell you the gifts we like.
Okay. We have a small budget.
That's my questions. Thank you.
Thanks.
Councillor Barry.
Just a comment. My thoughts when I heard about the drone is that must be a really valuable addition considering the large rural area that you serve. Cities are one thing, but your detachment encompasses a broad area, and it would be easier to monitor what's happening with a drone as opposed to sending out a staff member.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? All right. Staff Sergeant McGonigal, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice evening.
All right, moving on to, I guess now 7.2, I think. Accounts paid as November 25th. Can I have a motion to accept those as reported? Councilor Malonte.
Put forward the motion as recorded.
All right, any questions? Councilor Harris.
First page, Boomstrap Consulting.
Oh, can you have your
Sorry.
mic?
First page, Boomstrap Consulting. Can I get a, just, what is that?
About 3/4 the way down.
Laura's trying to get attention.
May I address council and answer that? I can answer that question.
Okay,
All right, thank you. Councillor Harris, Town of Gibbons is the legal host for a grant we get from Advanced Education for Sturgeon Adult Learning, which provides adult learning opportunities to all of Sturgeon County. And we received a grant to do some a needs assessment the last couple months here in the fall, so we contracted that service out to Boonstar Consulting. It is just wrapping up. We just had a meeting yesterday, and the final report, it will be on my desk by next week.
Great,
But we
thank you.
received a grant to do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have others, so if nobody else, I can
Sure.
wait my turn. Good?
Go ahead, yep.
Okay. Second page, it notes that the metrics group, about quarter way down, was the fourth quarter, or fourth audit, or fourth billing for the auditor, for $16,000. Typically, historically, we note the full cost of the audit in the letter to council. Does anybody have any idea what the total cost for the audit was?
Councillor Harris, this was the extra work that they had to do to help us out because of the severe complexity of the audit this past year with all the projects.
Okay, well, but it's notes that it's the fourth audit, fourth billing.
They usually bill 3 times, once for the interim, once for the capital, once for the final. This is for the extra.
Okay, is that noted in the audit report as well? I tried to look for it, and like I said, usually it's the cost of the audit in total is noted in the report, so
Which report?
in the report that the auditor provides, it's in the letter. I've looked at documents, and like historical documents, and they noted in their letter, the cost of their audit.
Their audit for the coming year is 23,000.
Yeah,
If there is no unforeseen things that happen, it'll be 23,000.
okay.
So this year, it's $16,000 more than 23,000.
Okay, so the entire audit cost 23 plus whatever is on this?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. I can continue unless somebody else. All right,
Continue.
good. Next page, top is for the town of Warrenville, for the bylaw services, I assume. Does anybody know, I noticed that we've had a bylaw officer join us at our meetings on a regular basis for the last several months now. Does anybody know if this cost is over and above? Is this check that we've issued for the amount that we contract them for?
The amount that is shown here is part of the contract that was signed initially.
Okay, so do we pay extra for the,
No.
does it come out of the hours that we contract them for? Do you know?
That I don't know. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, same page. I would just have a question for the, going down to the, for the review and the free press, and it is for advertising for $428. Do we even get those two media
Yes, we do.
papers in our mailbox?
It's in our mailbox every week. I get mine.
And what are we advertising? Is that the,
This was required by the changes in the AUC for the franchise fees.
okay. Second one, next one, couple down from there, it's from Brownlee for $1,701. It says counselor fundraising. I would say that's opinion. Does anybody know what that is for?
That was an inquiry as to how fundraising for members of council coming up in the election that's coming up.
Can you elaborate a little bit more? What do you mean?
Well, how, if you're fundraising for an election, how does that affect a councillor position?
Isn't that under the Elections Act? I'm just a little unclear as to.
Councillor Harris, just to let you know, there were some changes with Bill 20.
Yeah.
As far as councillor fundraising costs go.
Yeah.
And so I can't speak to the actual reason for that, but I know that there were changes, so I'm assuming administration was looking for clarification.
Okay, thank you. Next page, about three from the bottom. I noticed that we paid Select Engineering a fair amount of money for the Heartland Commons. Do we know if that has been approved by the overage or the funding for that project has been approved by Municipal Affairs?
We have no idea. We have not received any correspondence as of yet.
Okay, my second question then is, why are we spending money on a project that we don't know we can go forward with? Anybody?
Continual work that goes on, I believe.
I'm sorry?
Councillor Harris, when they start onto town land, we have to use our select engineering company to confirm certain jobs are done and done right. And so we use them for that. So any surveying, stormwater lines, water lines, we were going through a lot with Rogers Communication, getting lines in there, ACO gas line going in. There's a lot of little things that our engineers, the street lights were going in. They all have to go through our engineers to get this stuff confirmed.
Is that for aren't the commons and the station are two different projects, correct?
Yeah, well, the commons and station, you could say yes and no.
Okay.
They're all in the same area, but they all fit into the same thing. Like we got a holding tank for sewer there. So we have to make sure those lines are going. If they run into issues with water sewer, we have to go over there and make sure that ours are running right, so we use select engineering. If something's not running right, we aren't engineers in the town, so that's why we contract them to make sure that it's done correctly and the town's not held liable if something goes wrong.
Okay, thank you. I believe that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, are there any more questions? All right, all in favor of accepting the financials for November 25th? All right. 10.1, 2025 operating budget presentation schedule.
Sorry, can I just interrupt for a second, Councillor Yushishin? Nobody made a motion to accept the Staff Sergeant's report. Can I get a motion on that, please?
Okay, Councillor Barry. All in favor of accepting the Staff Sergeant's report? All right, 2025 operating budget process.
Councillor Eustachian, members of council, the purpose of this report is to respectfully request that council review the following schedule for the 2025 operating budget. Administration continues to work towards the presentation of the 2025 operating budget for council's review and approval and is proposing the following schedule. Due to the requirements of the CRA and the complications associated with the pension and benefit plans, administration is planning to present a 2025 interim operating budget and capital budget, including the COLA for staff at the December 11 regular council meeting. Also, at the December 11 regular council meeting, administration will request that council set a 2025 operating budget meeting open to the public for January the 8th, 2025 at 7 p.m. And then present the 2025 operating budget to council at the January 22nd regular meeting of council.
All right, so firstly, can I get a motion to accept the operating budget schedule as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Councillor Kozak, any questions? Councillor Harris.
Thank you. Can you explain the requirements of CRA and the complications associated with the pension and benefits plans, please?
Because retro pay creates a whole havoc of trying to recalculate everything, and then with the pension plan as well, then it's buybacks and the all the benefits have to be readjusted. That's why that it is always prudent to decide on the salaries for the coming year before January the 1st.
Okay. My second question, would we be able to get the information well in advance of the meeting on the 11th so that we can review it extensively and ask questions? Because it's customary to get the agenda
It'll be
only
on
a
the
few
agenda,
days before.
Councillor Harris. It'll be as
Pardon
part
me?
of the agenda. It will be as part of the agenda.
Okay, well, our agenda is supposed to be received by 1 o'clock the Monday prior to the council meeting, and I have no recollection of that actually happening. Normally, they are Tuesday afternoon and beyond. So what I'm requesting is, could we get the information pertaining to the proposed budget well in advance?
That depends on a motion of council.
Oh my gosh. Okay, could we at least adhere to the rule that the agenda is in our hands by 1 o'clock the Monday prior to the meeting?
If you make an amendment.
No, it's actually in our procedural bylaw that we are to receive the agenda packages by 1 o'clock the Monday, and we never get it. So I'm asking, could we make sure that we have that information in advance? I'm not going to make a motion.
Okay,
A motion is not required. Council Harris is correct.
Okay.
The agenda package is supposed to be in council's hands by 1 o'clock on the Monday.
okay,
So I'm just verifying that that information is correct. A motion is not required.
okay.
Councillor Harris, I won't promise anything, but we'll do our best to get it there on time. That's all I can say. If it's not ready, you can't send it out. But we will do our best. I'll try to make sure that we get it out on time.
Is it possible that if that is ready on time, we get that by the 1 o'clock on Monday, and then we have an adjustment to the agenda afterwards?
I can certainly, if it's in my hands, I can make sure that it's out to council by the 1 o'clock. I can't guarantee that the whole package will be there and therefore won't be available to the public until the package is ready. But if I get it on time, you will have it.
I believe Mr. O'Malley is responsible for releasing the agenda package. So,
All right.
thank you,
Any
Mr.
other
Lowe.
questions? All right, all in favor of the operating budget schedule as presented? That's that. All right, 11.1 bylaw PI 1-24 nomination deposit fees, second and third reading.
Councillor Eustachian, members of council. The purpose of this report is to respectively request that council give consideration to bylaw PL 1-24 nomination deposit fees, municipal election. The Local Authorities Election Act states in section 29 that an elected authority may, by bylaw, pass not fewer than 30 days before nomination day, require that every nomination be accompanied with a deposit in the amount fixed in the bylaw. An amount fixed in the bylaw under subsection 1 may not exceed A, $1,000 in the case of local jurisdiction with a population of more than 10,000, or B, $100 in any other case. The nomination period begins on January 1st, 2025. Therefore, to ensure compliance with legislation, administration is recommending that council set the nomination deposit fee as $100. As Bill 20 has now become law, bylaw PL 1-24 has been amended from first reading to allow for deposits to be paid by certified check, money order, cash, debit, or credit card as defined in the Local Authorities Election Act. Options available. The council set the nomination deposit fee as $100 for the 2025 municipal election by giving second and third reading to bylaw PL 1-24 nomination deposit fee bylaw. The council advise administration as how they would like to proceed.
Can I get a motion? Councilor Malonte.
Put forward the motion that council set the nomination deposit fee as $100 for the 2025 municipal election by giving second and third reading to bylaw PL 1-24 nomination deposit fee bylaw.
Councilor Malonte, you can only give a motion to give second reading.
Sorry, going with the first reading. And the second.
Any questions? Councilor Harris.
Thank you. Didn't we visit this because the province said that during COVID, we could use credit card and debit? And, okay, I'm confused.
Yeah, that is
what are we
correct.
amending then?
You passed first reading. First
Yeah.
reading did not include debit and credit card, but
Yeah.
now that Bill 20 has become law.
Got it.
And the Local Authorities Elections Act has now been updated.
Okay,
Now it's acceptable.
got it. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All in favor? All right, can I get a motion for third reading? Councilor Barry.
Yes, I move that council set the nomination deposit fee at $100 for the 2025 municipal election by giving third reading to bylaw PL 1-24 nomination deposit fee bylaw.
Any other questions? All in favor? Now, Ms. Pino, is this stating that we are now going to have third reading, or that was third reading?
That was third reading.
Okay.
Announce that as carried then.
Carried, yes. All right, 11.2, bylaw PL 2-24, animal control bylaw, second and third reading.
Council, your assistant members of council, the purpose of this report is to respectively request that council give consideration to bylaw PL 2-24, animal control bylaw. Upon review of the animal control bylaw in conjunction with Morinville Bylaw Services, administration has made a couple of changes to the animal control bylaw. These changes now reflect the current responsibilities that Morinville bylaw is designated to enforce. Options available, council gives second and third reading to the bylaw PL 2-24 animal control bylaw. Number 2, the council advise administration how it would like to proceed.
All right, can I get a motion for second reading? Councillor Barry. Any questions? Councillor Harris.
I move that council
Sorry.
give second reading to bylaw PL 2-24 animal control bylaw.
All right, Councillor Harris.
Thank you. On the second page, first of all, did we get, is this a draft copy of what Morinville has? Or is this what our current one is?
This is, Morinville has the original bylaw
Yeah.
without, anything that you see in red, Morinville does not yet have.
Okay. My question then is, when did we have an enforcement services committee?
That was on the previous bylaw.
Yeah.
And that came into effect when we had a vicious dog in town that we needed to have dealt with.
Right.
So we used to have two separate bylaws, an animal control bylaw and a vicious dog bylaw. Then the bylaw previous to this draft in front of you was a combination of both of those bylaws. We combined those two, and now we need to make a couple of changes because what we have here does not reflect what Morinville is able to do.
Okay, so we used to have what did that enforcement committee do?
It was there if we needed to designate a dog as vicious.
Okay, why would we deem the CAO having that power instead of, why would we remove that option?
No, the CAO is still part of this committee.
Right,
As well as the supervisor of Morinville bylaw and a peace officer.
okay, all right, I get it, I understand, thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor of second reading? Carried. Can I get a motion for third reading?
I'll make motion third.
Councillor Kozak, thank you. Any questions? All in favor of third reading? Carried. Thank you. 11.3, bylaw MOG 1-24, criminal record check for election candidates.
Council musician, members of council, the purpose of this report is to respectively request that council gives consideration to bylaw MOG 1-24, criminal record checks for election candidates. Background, the recent changes to the Local Authorities Election Act include a provision for election candidates to submit a criminal record check with their nomination papers at the discretion of council. The result of a criminal record check do not disqualify a candidate from running in the election unless the individual is ineligible under Section 22 of the LAEA. However, the criminal record check must be available for examination by anyone who requests it from the commencement of the nomination period until the term of office has expired in the presence of a returning officer, deputy, or secretary. If council so desires to require the submission of a criminal record check for the upcoming 2025 municipal election, a bylaw is required before the end of December and is attached for council's review. Options available. The council advise administration is how it would like to proceed.
All right, could I get a motion? Councillor Berry?
Rather than making the motion as it's presented here, can I not move that council approve bylaw MOG 1-24 criminal record checks?
Councillor Barry, you would treat this bylaw like any other bylaw, so giving it first reading if council decides that that's what they would like to do.
So my motion would be that we give first reading. Okay, that will be my motion. I move that we give first reading to bylaw MOG 1-24, criminal record checks for election candidates.
All right, any questions? Councillor Harris?
So this criminal record check is to be submitted to, by a potential candidate to council?
No, it would come into the returning officer as part
Right.
of their nomination papers.
Yeah, if I recall reading correctly, the nomination papers would actually be rejected without it.
That's correct.
Okay, and is this gonna, I mean, I don't care either way, but is this gonna be, I mean, is it gonna be publicized, or is it just for, at the request of the residents?
Yeah, it's at the request of the resident. It would have to be viewed here in the office in front of the returning officer, the secretary, or the deputy returning officer.
Okay, thanks.
I do have a question. Just in 3.2, it says the criminal record check must have been completed by the RCMP. Is it a requirement that it's the RCMP and not maybe Edmonton Police if there's a possibility for that?
Well, anybody who's running for the town of Gibbons would be getting their criminal record check from the RCMP.
Okay. All right, any other questions? All in favor of first reading? All right, that's passed. 11.4, bylaw PL 3-24, municipal master rates bylaw.
Council, your decision, members of council. The purpose of this report is to respectfully request that council consider adopting bylaw PL 3-24 municipal master rates bylaw. Background, the municipal master rates bylaw sets the charges that council approves to be charged by the municipality for the upcoming year. The suggested changes are highlighted in red for ease of reference. The proposed changes to the cemetery rates are suggested to simplify the interment process for families during an already confusing time and to offer a more compassionate reflection of the costs associated with laying a loved one to rest. The proposed changes are to eliminate the current difference in costs associated with the time of the year. Mourners have no choice on the timing of a loved one's passing and are quite often no choice of interment dates. Our current pricing penalizes those who have loved ones who pass at different times of the year. Variance in season pricing can be confusing and irritating for families that are grieving. Currently, the difference in cost for a columbarium opened and closed between October 31st and November 1st, as well as between April 30th and May 1st, is $50. The municipality cost for providing the service is the same for both dates, yet our fees are not, making the added cost seem arbitrary and unnecessarily convoluted. Okay, that'll be due. I'm from Nova Scotia, I'm good. In the case of a coffin burial, the cost difference is $200. Through thawing frozen ground in winter requires more time and additional equipment, the ground does not automatically freeze on November 1st and thaw on April 30th. It would also be simpler for the family of the deceased to have just a single price. One could reason that splitting the difference between the current cost of a summer versus winter interment would be easier and arguably more equitable for families making burial engagements. The proposed changes to the utility charges are as follows. Garbage rates are proposed to go up by 2% as noted in this bylaw on page 13, an increase of 41 cents per month to $20.72 per month. Water flat rates are proposed to go up by 2%, as noted in the bylaw on page 13. For residential, an increase of 59 cents per month to $29.80 per month. For commercial and industrial, an increase of 69 cents per month to $35.20 per month. Bulk water rates are proposed to go up by 2%, as noted in this bylaw on page 13, an increase of 13 cents per cubic meter. So that's $6.30 per cubic meter, and the 10% discount on cubic meter rates for online administration users only. An increase of 12 cents per cubic meter to $5.67 per cubic meter. Sewer flat rates are proposed to go up by 2%, as noted in the bylaw page 13. For residential, an increase of 51 cents per cubic meter to $25.59 per cubic meter. For commercial and institutional, an increase of 95 cents per cubic meter to $48.08 per cubic meter. To meet with requirements of the Municipal Government Act, where all municipal utilities must pay for themselves, that is the charge for the utilities must cover all the expenses to operate the utilities. Administration is proposing that for both the water and sewer utilities, a new charge be implemented called an infrastructure replacement charge. The water system needs some infrastructure upkeep to maintain it in a functional level. These include divers, $15,000, EnviroTrace, $6,500, hydrant maintenance increase, $12,000. Because of our present hydrants, the hose port and pumper port threads are corroding and could cause a projectile when operated. In the past, we have never accounted for in the budget, for the replacement of the water meters that is presently taking place. That cost is about $40,000. This means to cover the town's need to levy an infrastructure replacement charge to all users of $19.30 per month. The town has 1,296 users, which would generate $300,154, and that would allow for a $155 surplus in the 2025 operating budget. The sewer system needs some infrastructure upkeep as well. These include the lining of 4 manholes at $25,000, the replacement of manhole covers, frames, and seals for $12,000, plus the additional salaries for the sewer system. The town needs to levy an infrastructure replacement charge to all the users, $3.25 per month. The town has 1,296 users, which will generate $50,544. And that will allow for a $174 surplus in the 2025 operating budget. This means the flat charges on an average utility invoice will increase by $24.06 per month. Supplemental information, administration is requesting that council give only first reading to bylaw PL 3-24 municipal master rates bylaw at this meeting.
Can I get a motion? Councillor Barry.
I'll move that council provide first reading to the Municipal Master Rates Bylaw PL 3-24.
Any questions? Councillor Harris.
Thank you. Can I ask what the wages and salaries are in this chart? I noticed that the charts that have been provided have a line item for wages, salaries, and benefits in each of the. Can you tell me what those are for? And why we're approving something like that in this type of bylaw?
Councillor Harris, members of council, in the past, because we were small, the Public Works did all the utility work, and the only ones that were costed would be to the water because of the meter readings and that sort of thing. Now with all of the expansion and as well with the drainage of the septic tanks that take place at Heartland Station, there are portion of the wages are coded to the sewer system and the rest are coded to the water system and to Public Works. So an individual could work part-time water, part-time sewer, part-time Public Works. The reason that this is being done is because the functions that you operate the utilities must cover. So the costs that are charged to the residents and the business owners must cover the costs of operating these utilities. According to the Municipal Government Act, that cannot come out of property taxes. That is why it is being accounted in this fashion.
So are we approving positions included, like employee positions are they being included in this bylaw?
They're already there.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, I don't know that, and that is why I'm asking, ma'am.
That's right. That's what I said. That's why it's not an addition of staff, Councillor Harris. It's just a coding of the hours that they put in. So it's less at Public Works, more at water, more at sewer.
And explain
Still
to me
the
again
same.
why this would be included in a bylaw? This is a bylaw for the Mass Rates bylaw, so I'm just,
That's correct. And the reason this information was provided to the council was to verify that what was read to you, that the reason to request the addition charges of infrastructure was to prove to members of council that there was no budgeting to have a big surplus in the water utility, nor a big surplus in the sewer utility. So to set the rate, I wanted to explain to council how those numbers were arrived at, to show that it's not being extra greedy, for lack of a better word. There is a surplus of $155 in one utility and $174 in the other utility.
so with the increase of the rates, are these funds that are quoted in each column, is this in addition to? Then, I'm looking at the wages, salaries, and benefits, for example, for under sewer, and it says expenses. And that number is $518. So is this in addition to what will be included in our budget?
That's the 2024 budget.
Pardon me, okay, that's fine. Well, regardless, that's what I'm asking. So then we'll move over to the 2025,
That
where
would
it says
be included
$104.
in Upcoming operating budget, yes.
Okay, so that's an increase of $25,000, in other words, from this year to next year.
Because of the way it's being coded, of the time required for the staff to do the work that is required.
So just so that I'm clear, it's an increase to our budget, correct?
To that utility, yes.
Right. Okay, thank you. This is just first reading, correct, or, right? Thank you.
Barry.
I noticed a discrepancy, and maybe there's a reason for that. You're proposing an increase, just let me find it here, of $19.30 per month for the water system, and $3.25 for the sewer system. That adds up to $22.55. But you say at the end, this means that the flat charges on an average utility invoice will increase by $24.06 per month.
That could be, I'll have to. read
It's just a couple dollars difference,
I
but
could be wrong, but I think your 2406 isn't just those two levies, it's also the sewer flat rate increase. The 2% on each of those
That's correct.
would be
It's
included
also
in
the
that.
2% increase.
So you're only adding
Oh,
two
okay.
of the numbers?
Yes.
But
Okay.
there's others in point two and one
Okay.
and two, I think,
got it.
that would have to be included as well. Any other questions? Councilor Kozak?
So if I'm getting this right, we'll put it in simple forms. The man hours involved for keeping up the sewers and all that, those hours will come off of Curtis's budget for public works then?
Correct.
Okay.
Councillor Barry?
Yeah, just in addition to that, my understanding would be that one position who currently works in Public Works would have their payment come out of essentially three pots.
That's
Because
correct.
they're being paid for their utility, their Public Works work, their water system work, and their sewage system work. It's not an addition to a staff person, it's just how their wages or how their pay is coded.
That's correct.
Any other questions? All right, all in favor of first reading? That's passed. Oops, sorry. 11.5, bylaw PL 4-24, waterworks and sewer servicing bylaw.
Do you want me to read it?
Councilor Eustachian, members of council. The purpose of this report is to respectfully request the council consider adopting bylaw PL 4-24, waterworks and sewer servicing bylaw. The Waterworks and Sewer Servicing Bylaw sets out rules and regulations pertaining to the operation of the town water and sewer utilities, as well as for collection of water and sewer service charges. The suggested changes are highlighted in red for ease of reference. The proposed changes are the name change that took place with the Alberta Capital Region Wastewater Commission to Arrow Utilities, the addition of water infrastructure replacement charges and a sewer infrastructure replacement charge to meet the directives of the Municipal Government Act and to maintain the existing system before it starts to failing and we have a City of Calgary incident. Supplement information, administration is requesting that council consider giving only first reading to bylaw PL 4-24, waterworks and sewer servicing bylaw at this meeting. Options available. The council proceed with the waterworks and sewer servicing bylaw by giving PL 4-24 first reading. Number 2, the council receive this report as information. 3, council to direct administration as to how they would like to proceed.
All right, can I get a motion? Councillor Kozak,
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
for first reading.
For first reading, sorry.
All right, any questions? All right, all in favor? And we're passed. All right, administration reports.
We'll start with Laura.
Councillor Eustachian and members of council, it's my pleasure to fill in for Stephanie Peters, the Director of Community Services tonight. We just came off of our hometown weekend event. We saw higher than average numbers despite the weather. It was great to have partnerships with all our community agencies that were involved in the weekend. I know everybody who we partnered with, from the Legion to the library to the Egg Society to the Museum Society, all saw larger than average numbers at all of our events. So we want to thank all those partners for helping us pull off our hometown weekend. Also, the food bank is coming into their busiest season of the year. Red grocery bags went out to all the homes in Gibbons last Sunday. The fire department is doing their annual food bank hamper collection day on Sunday. We're hoping for good weather for our firefighters out there. Santa will be aboard the fire truck and delivering candy and picking up groceries. And in regards to the food bank as well, Christmas hampers, which is an additional hamper people can receive at this time of year, in addition to their regular monthly hamper. Christmas hampers need to be registered by this week, by the 30th, to have pickup on the 14th of December. They are doing it a little bit differently this year. Food will be picked up at the food bank at the GFRC building. We do have a room at the cultural center now for all the toys, so families will be going over this year and picking out toys for their own children rather than just be handed toys that we think would be appropriate for their kids. So we're really excited about that. Give some ownership to the parents that they can go pick out their toys for their own children. So I don't have a number yet as the number of hampers that are being requested for Christmas, but does look like it's going to be higher than last year. But I won't know until after the 30th.
Councillor Berry?
Not to pour water on all the lovely things that happened over hometown weekend. However, I was at the Gibbons Library Board meeting last night, and there was quite a bit of frustration expressed by the board members. Apparently, they had prepared a float, and then at the very last minute, the parade was canceled, and they were not pleased with that. So if I have a recommendation for another year where a similar situation might arise, I think it's really important to give a much longer notice beforehand so that people who are preparing their floats know that they don't have to put that work in unnecessarily. And I had another point and I've forgotten what it is.
Well, maybe I'll address that and then you can think about your other point.
Okay.
I did talk directly with the library board Monday, and I understand their frustration. We were working very closely with our Public Works Department, and with the amount of snow we saw that day, and as it continued, it became a safety issue. This event happens after dark. We could not get the streets to a point where it would be safe to be having children standing on, there was no place to stand. We couldn't plow the streets to get vehicles through. We did it because of safety.
Yeah,
We understand the frustration. We were trying our hardest all day long to hopefully get to a point with our Public Works team who worked to 11 o'clock that night.
Bottom line, it needed to be earlier though, because of all the work that all of the different community groups were putting in to their floats. It needed to be earlier. And the way in which it was communicated was not adequate. The library board did not receive a direct notification of that. They only learned of it off of Facebook. And their point was that all of the community groups who had registered a float needed to be notified directly, not to have to go to Facebook to discover that at a very late date. Okay.
We'll keep that in consideration for next.
Sorry for the cold water.
No, that's okay.
Councillor Malonte, you had a question?
Yeah, I don't know if a voyant alert went out, but I would assume it went out around 1 o'clock, from my understanding, for those that are signed up for it. But I do agree with Councillor Barry that maybe we should have some extra consideration for the participants of the parade, especially if it's for their safety.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Corporate Services.
Councillor Yusishin, members of council, Corporate Services is working on the operating budget for 2025. Thank you.
Louise, Planning and Development.
My second last meeting on the countdown. Business breakfast has been set for 7:30 a.m. on December 6th at Coach's Corner, so hope to see you there. That's it.
Public Works.
Councilor Eustitian, members of council, public works, so water meter changes as appointments are made. I'm sure everyone's noticed the electronic signs going out canvassing neighborhoods, so just want to make the reminder that if you do see green tags on the doors, please call in to schedule appointments. We rely on those to get that done. And snow removal is ongoing. We've had staff members working all throughout the weekend and all week. I just want to keep in mind and recommend that we do have 5 operating staff members doing snow removal. Does take some time, so patience is a need out there within the community, but we're doing the best we can there. Thanks.
The fire department, calls to date, 141 town calls and 178 county calls. At the end of the year, I'll give an update on the amount for each. The food bank drive was talked about. That's a big thing, so we usually hit around 10,000 pounds of food. So the town is really generous and really good at helping out those who need it. So it'll be good. And under projects, I officially bought a loaf of bread, so the grocery store is opened. So it went really well. I was there Sunday, I didn't buy it on Friday, but they said that they were packed Friday and Saturday. It was hard to keep up. They were that full. So I think it's going to be a big hit. The 3 commercial retail units are expected to open early in 2025.
Councilor Monte.
Just some questions regarding the food bank drive. Do we have enough trucks to assist in volunteering? And then I can't speak for the food bank, but my assumption is there's some numbers of volunteers that sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. Are you going to be needing more volunteers, both at the food bank and then obviously to assist with the food drive?
Fire department has lots of vehicles, and our engine and rescue 6 will be out because the county engine is in to see the truck doctor. And yeah, we have enough for half-ton trucks and members. This goes a lot quicker with the red bags delivered first because we just move right along. So, and what was the other question about?
So I just want to say thank you as being one of the truck drivers that does do a lot of the deliveries during the charity event. And then this one is just for the food bank to see if we have enough volunteers there as well.
I believe they are, right now, I believe there's around 25 volunteers that volunteer at the food bank. The problem is on that day is space. We don't have a lot of room, so we're really limited to the number of people, and with all the fire department members there and all the food that is coming in to put any other people in there, it fills up not only the food bank but the GF down the hallway and the resource center and every nook and cranny till they can weigh it and process it and put it away. So it's a matter of space. I think we're adequate.
Okay.
It does continue on Monday, Tuesday, and probably Wednesday next week. It takes them that long to weigh, and they have to look at every date on every item received to determine if it's safe to be put on the shelves.
Okay, just wanted to
Yep.
give a check-in.
It's a big day. It's a big day. Lots of moving parts and lots of people making this happen. And as Assistant CA or Fire Chief Lowe said, that brings in 10,000 pounds of food, which gets through the Christmas season. So.
Thank you.
Councilor Harris.
Thank you. There was mention at the beginning of the meeting with Mayor Deck and Councillor Sandal's absence, but none of CAO O'Malley's. Where is he?
Councillor Harris, he's on vacation.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Can I get a motion? Councilor Malante.
Put forward as information.
All in favor? All right. Council reports, committee reports. Councilor Malante.
November 20th, attended the land use bylaw review. November 21st, attended the Sturgeon River Watershed Alliance meeting. November 22nd, attended our seniors' almost Christmas dinner. It was a fantastic night. Lots in attendance. I really wish we had a bigger center because I was told that there was a lot of people that didn't get tickets because they were all bought out, or it was a sold out show from my understanding. And then November 23rd, obviously participated in our townwide event. Was busy wrapping gifts for the kids. It was a wonderful piece, and we also did the golf cart draw as well, and we had a food bank representative and Santa.
Councillor Barry.
I'm not sure if this qualifies for my committee report, but on the 20th of November, I attended the land use bylaw review. On the 22nd, at 8 o'clock in the morning, I was there for the grand opening of the independent grocery store, and I was hugely impressed by the amount of merchandise that's in that store. It's fantastic. In that same day, I attended the seniors' almost Christmas dinner. The following day, on Saturday the 23rd, I helped wrap gifts in the Children's Santa store as well. On the 24th of November, I made a little bit of a stop at the event that was being put on by the library. In the afternoon, they were handing out cookies and they had crafts for the kids. Apparently, they had over 400 people come through, and the board members were really impressed with that, and they plan to try to do something similar when there is another event such as the Family Day event going on. And I also attend the craft fair and bought myself a toque. And last night, I think I've mentioned that I attended the Gibbons Library Board meeting, and that's where all the discontent came from. That's it.
Councillor Harris.
Yes, I don't attend anything. However, I would like to extend my apologies to council for my absence at the land use review, or the preliminary land use review. When we received the notification, I had to put we put our family dog down that afternoon, so I totally missed it. My apologies. And if I could just comment about the seniors almost Christmas. The mention that there were not enough tickets is not the first that I've heard in my 11 years here. Perhaps council could think in the future, would consider in the future not buying them or not attending. That is 14 tickets. If our spouses or our partners attend, that's 14 tickets. Just a suggestion that are not available to the seniors who would like to go. Just a notation. Thank you.
Councillor Kozak.
Okay, November 15th, the Aero Utilities Organizational Board meeting. November 22nd was the grand opening of Mike's Independent Grocers. Again, on the 22nd, the Seniors Almost Christmas Dinner. The 23rd, the Hometown Weekend Santa Store. The 24th, the Legion French Toast Breakfast, which was fantastic. And today, or this afternoon, the Edmonton Global Virtual Meeting. That's it.
All right, for myself, November 20th, also the land use bylaw review. November 22nd, also, Ms. Pino, I missed the independent grand opening on my list. I missed that as well. Then in the evening, went to the Seniors Almost Christmas Dinner. On the 23rd, the Santa Store wrapping presents, and then after that, attended the Youth Centers event in the Cultural Center. And then this afternoon, the Edmonton Global Virtual Town Hall. Can I get a motion? Councillor Malante.
Put forward the motion for information.
All in favor? And with that, we are adjourned.